Hi there, and welcome to Limitless, the space where your big dreams meet grounded energy and mastering manifestation becomes your new normal. I'm Alyssa Simpson, mindset and manifestation coach, your unorthodox free spirit, and now your newfound permission slip to do life your way. Here, we break the rules by ditching societal norms of the hustle and grind. We embrace flow, alignment, and the bold decision to follow what lights you the fuck up. In each episode, I'll be sharing soul downloads, mindset shifts, energetic upgrades, and raw, authentic stories to help you unlock your magnetism, collapse timelines, and create a life that feels as good as it looks. So if you're ready to remember who you are, trust your desires, embody your highest self, and manifest from your authentic power, it's time to sit back, relax, and get ready to become limitless. Oh, how are you? Welcome back to another episode of Limitless. On this new self journey of unlearning and shedding and all of the things. Also, by the way, happy fucking New Year. It is January 6th as I am recording this episode for you live. If you're watching, our Christmas tree is down behind me. I am someone who, if the Christmas tree goes up early, it's got to come down the day after Christmas. I cannot stand the Christmas tree and Christmas decorations being up after the 26th. I don't know. Call me nuts, but like I'm ready to get my house back in order. I'm ready to say goodbye to the season and I'm ready to start the new. There's also a whole lot of talk about the new year isn't really the new year because it's in the dead of winter. So I have a couple of opinions about that, if you will. That's not what today's episode is about, but we're going to get into them anyways because I know that you love to hear my 2 cents on things. And especially in the wellness spiritual community, there's a lot of talk about you shouldn't be setting goals. You shouldn't be trying to go hard when it's the dead of winter. And that's true if you're in this hemisphere of the planet, right? Like in Australia right now, it is summer. So what? So they also shouldn't start January 1st because it's the dead of winter for them? No, it is not, right? If you live somewhere that's always fucking warm, okay? Like it's never winter, so what the fuck, it's all about honoring your own personal seasons. And if we really want to get into it, your new year starts on your birthday. That is when the new year for you starts. But there's something really beautiful about January 1st of any year because it's a new year for the collective, right? It's like all of us are getting that chance to start over, to create something new, to implement new things. And sure, I also agree we should not be going balls to the wall in January because if you're in America or the Northern Hemisphere, or are we in the Northern Hemisphere? I don't know. Whatever hemisphere you're in and it is actually winter, you shouldn't be going hard and crazy, but you should be starting the process of setting up the year of what you want it to be. And, people, there, what is it? Like the studies have shown, statistically has shown that by January 9th or February 9th, whatever the date is when most people give up on their New Year's resolution. And I'm going to get into why that is because it's not that these people have outlandish and crazy and wild and radical things they want to implement. It's because they don't ever do the actual thing that needs to be done in order to make these things stick. And that is embodiment. You cannot become the version of you that you desire to be if you are still operating as the version of you who doesn't have what it is you desire. So let's use going to the gym and getting a six pack and a fat ass is like your goal for the new year. So you're going to do all the things, right? You're going to clean out your pantry, clean out your fridge, go buy all new food. You're going to get new workout clothes. You're going to find a gym. You're going to do all these things, but you never actually do the work needed to make it stick, which is becoming the version of you who is someone who has a six packs and a fat ass and is healthy or whatever the goal is, right? If the goal is to become a six-figure, seven-figure earner in the year, are you doing the work to become that version of you, right? Because that's where it starts. That's the foundation. That is the baseline. And then everything else starts to change because when you make the identity shift and embody the version of you that you need to be in order to have the things that it is that you desire, That is how you're laying the literal groundwork for it to actually stick. So that's my 2 cents there. And if we're talking about not starting and going crazy January 1st in the dead of winter, you can still start to make the internal changes and do the internal work needed so that come spring, you can actually have the action piece behind it. Because, say it with me now, the manifestation formula is be plus do equals have. So it's all about the embodiment piece first. Then the action comes. And if you're new here, I've said this so many times. I don't even know how many. If you're listening for the 114th time of this podcast episode series, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We discuss the manifestation formula at nauseum here. So you already know. You already know the vibe. There's nothing that has changed in that, especially when we're talking about the new year and new goals and new aspirations and la 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 la. Another thing that I've got to touch on now that we are on the topic of New Year, New Me vibes is when you decide that you're going to dedicate an entire year to making a goal a reality and changing your circumstances and all of these things, becoming the version of you that you need to be, all of the beautiful, awesome things that are required of you, we have got to stop expecting things to happen in an instant. Here's the truth. Things can happen in an instance. 1 million fucking percent can something happen in the fastest amount of time that you didn't even think it could happen as fast as it did, right? But how you can really prep your nervous system and prep your capacity for holding what it is that you desire is to understand that instant things aren't necessarily required for you to have what it is that you desire. But because of social media, we are all like fucking addicted to things happening in an instance because I mean, I will even compare this to myself. I love watching transformation videos, specifically of like home transformation. So you have someone filming a transformation on a time lapse where what really took them fucking weeks or months took them 90 fucking seconds. And it's like, it's such a like, oh my gosh, that was so fun to watch. But you know what's even more fun? The person who's actually doing it and getting to see the end result after all of the time that it took them to make that end result. The same thing goes for when we're trying to bring our manifestations to fruition. Can they happen in an instance? Of course, because the universe works way fucking quicker and smarter and more efficient than our cute little human bodies ever could. The universe can deliver exactly what it is that you're desiring in an instant, but we can't always expect that to happen. Knowing in our hearts, like, sure, that totally can happen. Like, don't write it off. Don't say, oh, the universe would never work that fast for me, or I could never have something that fast, because you abso-fucking-lutely can. But the more important thing is here is that it's not a requirement. Just because it isn't happening in a time slot that you want it to happen doesn't mean that it's not meant for you. And also, with that being said, you've got to stop trying to manifest stuff in the future. If you are saying by the end of 2026, you're going to have X, Y, and Z, the X, Y, and Z is always going to stay in the fucking future because that doesn't exist. The future does not exist, just like the past does not exist. Right here, right now is the true only time that matters. And this is where the universe operates in. The universe doesn't operate in the past. The universe doesn't operate in the future. It operates right now. And this is when we're talking like specifically quantum physics and quantum time and time hopping, time leaping, whatever the fuck, collapsing, whatever the phrase is. It's because it's all happening right now. Now is the only true time. So if you're hearing this and you're like, Alyssa, what the fuck are you actually talking about? If I want to become a millionaire, how can I manifest in the now if I'm not a millionaire right now? This is where embodiment comes into play because are you embodying the millionaire version of you, right? I'm going to give you a very small example and something that I actually talked about in my newsletter that I sent out a week ago now. So if you're not a part of my newsletter, literally what the fuck are you doing? Hop in by snagging my free audio training that is below in the show notes so that you can get on my email list and you can get all of my written intuitive downloads because they're great. And the one that I shared was a Starbucks a day keeps the scarcity away. And there are So many people in the world, I'm looking at you, David Ramsey, who tell you that skipping your $7 latte every day is going to make you a millionaire. And that is such a lack fucking piece of advice. Because here's the thing, will Starbucks make you a millionaire? No. Starbucks alone won't do that. But the feeling for me of getting a Starbucks every day, and I famously have shit on Starbucks, and the only reason that I am taking all of my shit talking back on them is because of how fucking convenient it is to have them have a mobiling order system. I get points on the drinks that I order and the drive-through because I'm operating in 10-month postpartum here, and I just don't have the luxury of going to a cute coffee shop and standing in line and getting out of my car and taking my kid out of the car and whatever, right? I don't even need to explain this to you because I don't owe anyone an explanation, but I'm just so future me can listen to these episodes and be like, Alyssa, where did you lose your edge? You used to shit talk Starbucks and now you're talking about them like they're a part of your abundant wealth strategy. Well, that's why future Alyssa, past Alyssa is telling you why. But anyways, a Starbucks a day keeps the lack away, not simply by just Starbucks, but indulging in a coffee that was made by someone else for me to enjoy is a part of me embodying the version of me who has it all, okay? And no, I am not a financial advisor. I am a energy advisor, and that is energetically the way that you start attracting things in the now. I'm not talking about, oh, well, owning a Birkin bag is what makes me feel like a millionaire, so I should just go into crazy debt and fucking bankruptcy to own a Birkin bag. That is literally not what I'm saying. So if that's what you're hearing, you should probably adjust the frequency at which you are hearing my words, because what I'm talking about is the feeling of it. What also makes me feel luxurious as fuck is having a clean house before I go to bed. You will not catch me going to bed with my dishes in the sink. You will not catch me going to bed with laundry that needs to be folded. You will not catch me going to bed with my floors covered in dog hair. Things get cleaned before I go to bed because I simply, the most abundant, wealthiest version of me, does not go to bed with a dirty, unkept home. All of my kids' toys are back where they need to go. All of my clothes are hung up and put away. I have showered. I have, done my normal skincare routine. I have put away the dishes, I've cleaned the kitchen, I've done the floors, and all of these things, like, that takes me a total of maybe 10, 15 minutes. So for the people that are like, "I don't have time to clean my house before bed," if you keep a clean home, it's really not hard to just tidy up at the end of the day, to put things where they go at the end of the day, and that is what keeps me in my luxury abundant frequency, okay? So it's not necessarily going out and buying something every day or having something made for you every day, but it's what the version of you who does have it all, like, how do they operate? How do they embody themselves? Like, what does their day to day look like? And for me right now in this season that I'm in, it's getting a Starbucks coffee every day. I also am very limited to what vices I can have. I can't smoke cigarettes again until I'm 70. That's a personal choice. Ugh, I might change my mind on that, but that's one thing I don't get to enjoy. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I will be 3 years sober of alcohol this coming up summer, so that's super exciting. I cannot partake in marijuana at the moment. I don't do meth or heroin. So, like, there's not a lot of vices that I have. And splurging on a fucking coffee, I'll do it every day. I do it every day because it's great for me. I love it for myself. But that is what I'm talking about. Like, I do things that the version of me would do. And a lot of the times when we're talking about like New Year goals and New Year's resolutions and stuff like that, and the instant gratification of it, people don't understand that what compounds over time is you moving your needle just 1% every day. It's allowing yourself to really move in opportunities that the universe is providing you in a way that you would if you already had it all. So, for instance, I am, like I've told y'all before, navigating quite a few different spinning plates at the moment in my personal and my professional life. And how I'm operating in each one of these not so comfortable, great, fancy butterfly situations is moving my needle more than if someone handed me $1 million check at my front door, because I'm becoming the version I need to be in order to hold all the things that it is that I'm trying to bring to my reality. And So oftentimes, we really disguise self-care as what actual self-care is, right? So self-care when I think of it and embodiment when I think of it isn't meditating for 20 days or getting my nails done or making sure that my hair is done or booking a massage every 2 weeks or whatever the fuck you want to categorize as, well, when I'm the richest version of myself, I'm going to do all these things. Self-care is actually whenever you are putting your money where your mouth is and you're doing the work that is needed to become that version of you, right? When you're actually putting yourself in circumstances that aren't super comfortable or super fun and rewarding in the moment, but you're allowing yourself to flex that muscle and to build that self-trust of, hey, I'm putting myself in these opportunities, they've presented themselves to me, and here's how I'm choosing to operate in them. One thing that has come up a lot for me in this season of shedding and becoming the version I need to be, and all these things that I've shared on past episodes, is just how much people pleasing I still had in me that I thought I had healed, right? And it's all coming to a head in both my professional life, my personal life, and you know, as I'm asking the universe and showing the universe that, like, I'm really ready to become the next version I need to be to hold these things that I'm trying to manifest, I am being presented with parts of me that I thought were totally healed and recovered from, and they're not. But instead of being presented with them, because the opportunities that are being presented to me are not comfortable, butterfly, feel good, awesome things that I can't wait to tell the world about, they're opportunities for me to stand in my worth and to actually put to rest all of the people pleasing that I thought I had put to rest. So instead of being in these situations and going, why the fuck is this happening to me? I can't believe that this is happening. Like, the world hates me. Like I said last episode, who has my fucking voodoo doll? It is more about, like, wow, I really have some work I've got to do, and how great that I get the opportunity to do said work. Because on the other side of this is the version of me that I am so trying to be in alignment with. Because I can wake up every day and I can choose to be anything that I want. I can wake up tomorrow and decide to be and act however the fuck I want, right? But in order for it to actually stick and to implement, it has to be put to the test, right? It has to be put to the reflection of, okay, I hear you, I see what you're trying to do, but will you actually stand in this? So will I actually stand in me saying, this is my boundary with people pleasing, and it is what it is? Because what's going to happen, and what has happened, is that boundary is getting pushed back on, and I could easily be like, you know what, it's not worth it. Fuck it, that boundary doesn't exist anymore. Or I can stand strong with my boundary, which is always going to be a little uncomfortable. And guess what? I won't have to face this test again, because the universe is going to keep giving you the same opportunity to grow until you actually make that growth. Okay, so if you're like, dude, this is like the ninth fucking time this is happening to me. Why does this keep happening? Instead of asking that question, why don't you look back at the 9 other times that it's happened to you and go, okay, how do I want to approach this differently? Because it's a gift that you're being given the opportunity to approach it differently. And how you respond to it says everything. And it's going to either put a stop to it, or guess what? In the next fucking 6 weeks or 2 weeks or week or whatever, 24 hours, it's going to happen again. Okay. There was also a time in my life, I was what, 17, maybe? I don't know. That whole chunk of my life is a little blurry because your girl was drunk all the time. But I do remember I got like 4 or 5 speeding tickets in the span of like a month. It was kind of nuts. And I remember thinking, like, why the fuck does this keep happening to me? Like, I literally know people who speed notoriously and they've never had one ticket, but I've gotten so many. And looking back, I know that that was straight up the universe protecting me, because that time of my life was very reckless and very wild. And I do know that those times where I was getting stopped and pulled over and getting tickets and having to find ways to pay for them and all these things, like, it all happened for me, not to me, for the specific reason of it was saving me from who knows what. I could go into very specific conversations on that, but I won't. So just use your imagination when we go there. Now, When I'm talking about people pleasing, what I am noticing too within myself, and it's kind of funny because I actually have a friend of mine who she is like in the fucking depths of trying to recover the dynamic she has with a family member, and it is all about people pleasing as well. And so, of course, her and I are having conversations because I'm kind of going through something a little similar, and it's very much a me coaching her the way that I need to be coached in the moment. So like everything I'm saying to her, I'm like, okay, listen up, bitch, because you're also talking to yourself here. And what so much of it is that I'm noticing is people pleasing and recovering from it specifically does not mean that you have to like be this asshole. It doesn't mean that you have to come at others and be like, like they're the problem, because they're not. It's you. You having loose ass boundaries is the problem. Putting else as someone's needs before your own is the problem. And it's an opportunity for you to truly and honestly decide what you want moving forward, okay? Because people are going to treat you how you treat yourself. People are going to treat you how you allow them to treat you. And again, this doesn't mean that you have to fucking rip your shirt off and pound your chest and say, I'm fucking done and you'll never do this to me again. We're not going to be that dramatic. If that's your bag, go off. But that's not what I'm trying to tell you. What I am trying to tell you, though, is to see it from the lens of what makes the most sense for me. Because when we start to people please, we start to like try to explain our boundaries to people like they, number one, give a shit. Number two, will actually hear us, because they won't. Our boundaries don't, like, they don't care. They don't need to know the ins and outs of them. But what you need to know is, number one, having a boundary for yourself is a form of self-trust and self-appreciation and self-respect. You don't need to get it tattooed on your forehead what your boundary is. You just have to hold strong in that boundary. And that is the true fucking form of self-care. That is what self-care is. All this other shit is just like self-nourishment, self-soothing. It's not actually caring for yourself, because caring for yourself is doing what you say you're going to do, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you feel like relationships might crumble, even when you feel like you'd rather eat fucking glass than have to do anything outside of holding a boundary and potentially causing a riff. And what I will say is, anytime that someone, again, that you do not need to explain your boundaries to people. I honestly think that that doesn't even serve the purpose of having a boundary in the first place. Um, because here's what's going to happen is, emotionally unintelligent people are going to take it as an opportunity to dump on you or to make it about them. And we're done with that, right? Like, we are putting that chapter to bed. But what you get the opportunity to do here is say to yourself, this is my boundary. So how do I want to approach this boundary without bringing the other person in, to either let them deter you from that boundary, to let them project how much it bothers them that you have a boundary now. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to give people reasons why you say no. You don't need to give them a laundry list of other, like, whatever. You can decline things politely. You can say no without adding a fucking disclaimer to it. You are allowed to deny people access to you. All of the things that you can do, all of those things without a reason. You don't owe anyone a reason, right? But here's when I say this is the kicker that some people will take in the completely wrong fucking direction, is they use this as an excuse to be an asshole, where they're like, oh, I don't owe you shit. That's my boundary. I don't owe you shit. What you do owe people is decency. So if someone asks something of you, no is all you need to say. Like leaving people unread, ignoring them, not following through with your previous commitments, like those things, that's you being an asshole. You not being an asshole is you responding, right? Someone asks you to do something, no. Someone invites you to do something, thank you for thinking of me, but I'm not going to come. Someone asking something of you that you don't want to do, no, I don't have the time or space for that, whatever the fuck. But all these things you don't have to say with a reason. But what the wellness and like mental health industry has done is almost allowed people to not be fucking considerate. You are what you attract. So if you are inconsiderate, you're going to attract more people who are inconsiderate, okay? If you are someone who makes plans and doesn't follow through for the sake of your fucking boundary, which is great, keep your boundary, but you owe it to someone to tell them, hey, I'm not going to be making it to this. Hey, I'm not actually going to be doing what I said I'm going to be doing, right? But what happens is you're hiding behind the uncomfortableness of it. And what that tells the universe is you aren't actually serious about what it is that you are asking for, because you aren't having the decency and the self respect to at least voice what you will or will not be willing to do moving forward. Okay. Take with that what you will. Do whatever you gotta do. But seriously though, like the mental health wellness world, we're really shaping a lot of entitled assholes through a lot of what the conversations are. And I actually read something really interesting about, Mel Robbins' let them theory, which, if you are unaware, the Mel Robbins let them theory is essentially her just saying, like, let people be the way that they are and stop trying to control people, which, yes, that is 100% a factual thing that we should all be implementing. Like, we should not be trying to control others. But where it gets really fucked off is whenever you sit there and say, well, I'm just going to let them treat me poorly. I can't control them, so I'm just going to let them speak to me that way. No. Letting someone be some is like, hey, I am letting you be your own person. However, that doesn't require me to exist in that same world with you. You don't have to let people be disrespectful. You don't have to let people be set in their ways. You don't have to let people be disregarding of you and your feelings. Letting them just simply means that it's not your responsibility to fix, but it is your responsibility to separate yourself and do what's best for you. And that doesn't mean shouting at them and telling them, you're fucking wrong, here's my boundary, I'm fucking out of here. But it also doesn't mean you get to just ghost someone without even telling them, like, hey, I'm out. you know? So it's really interesting to see how all of this is kind of coming to a head and is going to continue to come to a head. But in some way, shape, and form, we are losing a little bit of our humanness in this. Um, even decades ago, how we've really lost sense of community. It's like the more and more that we get so hell-bent on the mental health of our self, we're really isolating more and more and more, when really, like, it doesn't have to be isolating. You get to have community, you get to have love and support, but how you respond to the things that it is you're wanting to change does set the tone for what is going to exist in your life. You are what you attract. I'm going to say this again. You are what you attract. No, that's fucking wrong. You attract what you are. Jesus Christ. Sorry, y'all, that said that backwards. I'm going to say it again the correct way. You attract who you are. So if you are someone who ghosts, bypasses, is flaky, you're going to attract more of that. If you're someone who does what you say you're going to do, even if it's uncomfortable, you're going to attract more of people and opportunities that are going to do what they say they're going to do, right? Let's take it down to the business world, the entrepreneurial world, because I have a lot of friends who are entrepreneurs, and it's crazy to me how there are some, it's not crazy to me at all, but I'm going to give you a very real comparison, how some people that I know, they have businesses and they don't follow through with what they say they're going to do, and so they end up having these clients that ghost them or file for disputes on their payments, or call their bank and get all their money refunded back to them that they paid this person. It's like, damn, why does this keep happening to me? Because you attract who you are, and you are flaky. So you're attracting flaky people. You're attracting flaky opportunities. You're attracting people that don't have respect because you don't respect yourself. So it really is an opportunity for all of us going into 2026, going into this beautiful year, to really look at how we are operating, and how we're operating is what we are attracting, things that we aren't so necessarily stoked about. Take a personal, invisible, auditory, nope, that's not the word, audit, inventory, an inventory audit, that's the same fucking thing, of what is going on behind the scenes within you, inside of you, and how it's actually shaping out in your reality, you know? Because it all boils back down to us. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine this morning, actually, and I told her, I was like, I'm very much the person who I like to see how I contributed to a disagreement or an argument or whatever kind of discourse is happening in my life, I'm very much self-aware that I like to see like what role I played in everything from like a lens outside of myself. And if we could all just do a little bit more of that, we would save ourselves so much fucking heartache if we could just take radical responsibility for our own role that we play in our own misfortune and circumstances, because you literally do create the circumstances that you live in. If you have a victim mentality, you're going to have victim ass shit happen to you left, right, and center. If you have an abundant mentality, you're going to have abundant shit happen to you left, right, and center. And inside of my new program, Restfully Rich, I am teaching women how to receive riches restfully. Because when you embody a restful, feminine, flowy identity, you open up that frequency level to attract those exact things to you. And that's the vibe. I am only accepting 10 women on the inside. The application is in the show notes for you to apply and see if this is where you want to be. It's not your normal coaching container. It is not how I have done things in the past. This is very different, because if we are going to attract in a restful, feminine way, we cannot be operating in the same capacity that we have been in the past. And I am dedicated to that as your fearless mindset and manifestation mentor, but also as someone who is genuinely going to change the fucking game for how people attract wealth into their lives. So if you're interested, check out the show notes to learn more. And if you have questions that you would love answered live on my series Lyss Listens, the application is in the show notes as well for you to apply. Ask your question anonymously. I will answer it here anonymously in the most rawest, realest form that I possibly can. And I will see you guys next time. Bye. I'm so grateful that you tuned in today. If this episode activated something in you, share it with a bestie who's also ready to become limitless. And don't forget to leave a review to help more people find this space. Wanting more? Get on my email list and subscribe to my YouTube channel for exclusive downloads, mindset shifts, and behind the scenes magic that I only share there. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, keep trusting the pull, honoring your energy, and manifesting your most abundant life.